Hello everyone, my name is Notepad and on our Games for Fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working on the Catboys of Thule, or the full name, Ancap Cattrap's Magical Capitalist Adventures on the Lost Island of Thule. Last time on Dragon Ball Z, we did the most basic ideas of, we got the basic system hammered out, we've got the basic idea of what characters are going to be looking like, and we actually kind of got how things are going. Most notably, commander attributes. It's fairly important to keep everything in line. Now, you may be wondering, Notepad, why aren't we doing skills today? And the answer is pretty simple, because I don't have units yet. So I need to do that. I need to do that before this. Again, this is more, like I said earlier, this project is a lot of going back and forth in and on itself. Fucking Theseus strip, for God's sake. You need to go from A to B to A to B to A to B to make sure everything actually works properly. So here we are going into actually how to design your plantation effectively. Your little slice of heaven, rolling fields of green, as you can see. Now, I did write this out because I'm like, hey, here it is. So the basic idea, each of the Catboys receives a down payment of 2,000 Thulean dollars and 1,000 trade currency, representing combination starting fund and assets on the ground. Your barony is technically only 8x8 currently. This isn't very big, but I didn't want it to be very big. That's not the entire idea, and you're going to be kind of strapped for room eventually until you start expanding out your operations a lot more. Plantation house, and you begin with a plantation house and one field. The idea of this is that the plantation house is your home base. It's where you actually live. It's not necessarily just a house, it might be a few different small houses, but these are clearly like the center of everything. Down wherever you feel like, and from there you're actually free to invest in your choice as long as you have the funds to pay for them. Kickstarting the local economy should be a priority. Few hands are available to work the fields. Catboys will need to attract other Catboys into their barony with the promise of wealth, luxury, and designer clothes. So what's the goal today? Well, today is going to be a very simple goal, in fact. We need to do buildings. We need to get this entire system kickstarted effectively. Once it's kickstarted, I no longer have to worry about it. I can just casually ignore this entire section. I just need to do this all today. Notepad, that sounds so, I know, but we're doing it all today. So, generally speaking, I thought about like how to actually do this, and I kind of got like just stuck here, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to think about it, because this is going to be a very long and very arduous one where we're going to be staring at spreadsheets. Oh boy, everybody. Hopefully everybody's ready for some fun and exciting spreadsheet gaming. Catboys are saucy. Yes, but Catboys also need to take a back seat today because we need to kickstart the SimCity aspect. So, basic concept, like the basic cycle of how I want things to go is population it feeds industry. Actually, I should feeds in commerce feeds industry. This is the basic concept. This is the basic idea. You need population to put in commerce, to put in the industry. Population is kind of the main resource, though. This is a fairly major one that's going to be kind of a complicated thing to worry about constantly. Because population, what I'm trying to avoid anyway is I don't want like 1 billion resources. He never really stated anything about wanting all that or not wanting it. So I'm trying to avoid it for my own sanity. I can try to implement something. But I genuinely don't know how to do it. But if we look at this kind of like, this is the way I kind of have everything set up currently. This is not the final, this is just something to actually have. But we have our basic T dollar cost, which is your Thulean dollar cost, your trade currency cost, the amount of Catboys required, pretty much your population, what it actually produces and what needs to be upkept, and then any notes about it. Generally speaking, this is not correct. I need to fix this. Because what it's going to look like, what I want this to kind of look like at the end of the day, because I'm going to have to put in a few of these buildings, mind you. is something more along the lines like, here's the building name, here's the actual $T cost, kind of the base cost, here's the trade currency cost, like even like population requirement, like I don't really know what to call this, so I'm just calling it the Catboy cost, the production, the upkeep, and then what I'm going to need to do is actually the grid distribution, I guess, like grid coordinates. Like, yeah, I don't know how to really word that, because if I go here and we go data, we want to do in wait properly. I forgot how to do this properly. There was actually a way to do really easy, and I completely fucking forgot it because I am a goober. I have a bad tendency of getting these things. But you can pretty much force everything into squares, and that's what I'm trying to I'm trying to remember how to force everything into squares properly. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to need to make a grid similar to what I did actually in Void Hunters. Because, fun fact, most of this game is going to be on a fucking grid. Let's see. Format. Let me be formatting because that's more about the text. Ooh, no, that's not it. Insert. No, that's not. What do you mean tools? Data? I can't even remember how to do this. When in doubt, let's Google changing. Changing. God damn it. Open Google. Not insert. Change this. Actually, I need to. We do this. We need to. Where's the fuck is the resize? But there we go. Resize column. If we resize columns to that's a little bit. Resize columns. We want to resize column to 25. Can we get much? Can we get much higher? So high. 25, 25. Or you've been. Let's do out. We want hue to hue. This resize 25. Okay. Everything should be the right size. Because everything is going to be 8 by 8. So 1, 2. Here's our little patch of heaven. Good job, everybody. We did it. We made our little patch. We made our own private Idaho. So here's our own little private Idaho. And pretty much we need to fill this up with things. What I want some things to be like, yeah, if you want to say put fracking in, because that was a very strict requirement that he wanted fucking fracking. You want to put fracking in, what's going to happen is you're going to do this, and then all the surrounding ones are also going to be kind of taken up. So it's going to look more like, okay, so this is all now fracking, but you get all the bonuses of it being a fracking operation. This is good. Or, hey, you get all the penalties of it being a fracking operation where you can't really do that. Well, some of them are like, you must be connected. So let's say I put a plantation field. Let's say I put a field right here. I can really only build other fields adjacent to previous field. Kind of the idea. So I could do something like this if I wanted to, but I couldn't build a field over here unless it's, connected to unless it's connected to a thing. So it's like, okay, so that's kind of like the idea of what I would want in that regard, but trying to get this all to properly, try to make this all look correct is a little bit harder than just saying it. That's why we're doing it today. So let's just start naming things out. Let's just be blunt about it. Let's say fuck it. We're not going to worry about cost or anything. We just want to put our basic things in. I'm saying light residential. Let's say medium residential. And heavy residential. Because this is one thing I want to do as well. Is kind of have like different tiers, being like how dense things are. We can just do light, medium. That we can do light Thulean, commercial, light, medium Thulean commercial. Thulean commerce. The basic idea behind this is. It's pretty much the idea of you're converting like basic Thulean commercial is strictly just it's just strictly population for $T. That's all it is. You're spending a population, in exchange you're getting $T. That's kind of the benefit. But that's all you're getting, really. TC commercial, standard commercial. So we do light standard commercial. We do something like that. Standard commercial is more along the lines of population to convert $T to TC. That's what this is. That's what their job is. Because trade currency can be used for more things. That's one of the major advantages of trade currency, is that you can use it for other things that aren't strictly just things on Thule. You can buy things, and this is one thing I want to kind of get across. The idea is like the $T is, $T heavily fluctuates. Like every cycle you're going to be making a roll to see whether it goes up in value or decreases in value. TC never fluctuates. That's kind of the idea. So it's like I want to get trade currency because I know even if $T completely gets fucked, it just doesn't work. You always have something to kind of lean back on. Hence why that's why you're converting $T to TC, but it costs more production, costs more people. And what I was thinking about doing is something along the lines of like this. It's kind of like the idea of like, yeah, medium residential is going to be paying for this. Like some of these are just going to be 1-to-1. But it's like, yeah, one heavy residential is going to be able to pay for multiple medium ones, but they're a lot cheaper. So that's kind of the idea. You just don't want to go full heavy because you're just going to fucking bankrupt yourself. So we can do basically the idea of like the catnip fields, which is going to be raw catnip. If we do catnip fields are going to be raw. It's going to be raw $T. That's all you're doing. You're producing raw money with catnip. That's one of its advantages. Raw cash. But adjacency. But adjacency requirements. I guess we can do catnip. We can do catnip production. Catnip production? No, processing. Processing plant. Processing plant. We do a catnip distributor. Distributor. We go under this idea. The idea with the processing plant is adjacency for $T. Pretty much you have to be adjacent to other catnip fields to get the most out of it. So kind of like an advantage would be, okay, here's this. You now want to build catnip fields around this now. But that's kind of an awkward thing to think about now, is that you're running out of space. Space game. Do you want to focus hardcore on that, or maybe you want to go down a different angle? Hence why the value of these. These you can kind of put anywhere as long as you have the population to pay for it. Still need to pay for population wise for all of these. So the Castnet distributor. So you need, so just the number of fields you have actually increases the profits of the distributor. Pretty much the idea being like you have more to actually give. Okay. Let's just think of other things. Oil fracking. Actually, there comes a question of, do you want raw resources to be a factor? This is actually a fairly important question we can ask. Are raw resources a factor? If I put down an oil field, for example, if I put down an oil field, am I producing money or am I producing money or am I producing oil? This is an important question to ask because it's kind of the idea of, if we introduce oil as a separate resource, now we have the idea of like, okay, what's the oil economy look like? You know, versus just the raw monetary gain of putting down an oil field. You know, like, okay, what's the oil economy? And you know, it's like, oh, I want to put down a gem mine. And is it just going to produce money or gems? What are the other resources going to look like? That's where we get a fucking question now. Let's see. Is iron available? Is iron actually here? Really fucking sad. No, he is not available. Even better. I will PM him anyway, and that's all I can do. Question. Raw resources to market. Raw resources to market or raw. Extracting businesses. There we go. Raw resources to market or monetary production from extraction. Because the idea being that if we go under the concept that we can do this, we're going to actually be able to actually add in a few more things because you're just going to be producing different things. Like, hey, you're producing cash crops. The cash crops are going to go up and down. The problem is there's going to be a lot more management behind this actually. There's actually going to be quite a bit more management behind it because now you're now trying to factor in the idea of having a production economy, which may take away from the concept of the game, which is just being a shitpost. So I wonder if he doesn't even mention it. Double check the commission sheet. Players normal basement dwelling, formula, building, crises, combat. So yeah, it's just like 3 resources for raw materials, Catboy, population, and cast, and cash. Yeah, so he's not factoring in that very much or at all really. So it's like how we're gonna go under the idea currently that at like things like oil fields, things like an oil field, for example, is just going to be producing raw cash for pops/space. Just going to be raw raw cash. We can do other, probably, like, we can do, like, an extract. At that point, we do, like, an extraction point, which is resource extract. We can do a ranchero. We can do some ranch, which is adjacency, farming adjacency. Farming adjacency for $T, but then we do things like cash crops, for example. We do cash crops, which is farming adjacency. Farming adjacency for TC, slightly different. You're getting a little different resource out of it. Next, we're getting into industry. Light industry, medium industry, heavy industry. Actually, we could do, I would say civilian. What would be a better way of wording this? Civilian. I guess civilian would be the way. Like, I guess would be the. It would be light civilian industry. Light, medium, and heavy civilian industry, and then we do light military industry. All hail the military industrial complex. Fucking, which is just going to be raw, which is just going to be, I guess, $T/TC for building materials. It's the idea behind which is a little bit of the way that you can create a command economy a little bit with the idea here. It's not exactly Ancap as fuck, but bear with me here. You can make a little bit of a command economy by the idea of manipulating the amount of building materials and military materials you have to just raw build things. So you're pretty much converting your money into things that you can just now build stuff with, rather than having to worry about it. So if I want to build light Thule and commercial, instead of having to rely on, instead of having to just spend the money or whatever, I can do probably for a little lower amount of money, just get building materials for it. So that's kind of the idea. It's like you're spending building materials to do something, but it's effectively converting money into a one-shot, a cheaper way to do it, but you're kind of limiting what it actually is. This is one of those things where you can actually do a little bit more if you're allowed to have a little bit more like the lines of how do you we do collective point, and then maybe we can do something like population adjacency. Misspelling things, but I'm just kind of writing things down. We do the idea of like an entertainment industry. We can do something, maybe something like along the lines of what am I thinking of? I guess we can do Burnsea Farm. What else would be needed? What else am I thinking of? What else am I thinking of? Like, what else do we need? What else is needed? I guess we can do like we do like a ranch house, crop house. So it's kind of like along the idea. So it's like, let's say this is our central location. Like this is our hub. This is our thing. We can choose to build out our catnip farms this direction, or we can build out other, kind of like other ranching, locations over here. But if you ever reach a point where it's like this, for example, where it's like, okay, you've kind of locked yourself in, you can't build a farm, you can't build like cash crop farms over here, for example. That's not adjacent. You're not adjacent to the central hub. So you may want to build like a secondary collector somewhere, for example, like over here, and then suddenly they can start building, then they can start collecting other things. So that's kind of like a way for like, oh, okay, we're optimizing our returns a little bit. We want to build a collector, and then you have a bunch of residential districts over here. Oh boy, we're doing like here's a bunch of residential. Wowzers. I sure do love planning. Yay. Actually, I guess we can do tenement complexes, water shacks, which are big pop, horribly ugly. Is big pop, horribly ugly. So it's kind of like the idea of like, you can build these, but you can't build any other residential adjacent to them. That's kind of the, so it's like, okay, you start building some of these like tenements, these shitty tenement complexes over in the fucking corner over here. It's like suddenly like this area kind of becomes off limits for like certain businesses, certain things, where it's like, okay, maybe you want to build more consistent, residential locations up here. It's a little bit, well, it's a little bit pricier. So it's kind of like a price versus. There's gotta be an answer here. Come on, there's gotta be an answer. These are already quite a bit. Like, what am I missing? A light residential. We've got residential. We've got commercial. We've industrial. We've got currently there's no resource extraction, but that's fine because of how things are building. I guess we can build something like barracks, like the idea of like you can kind of like have more like units in reserve, but that seems a little bit restrictive, but that should be okay. Like I guess what we is Mercenary post, so it's like soldiers, one battle soldiers for cash. And these are upgrades to units. Pop, very expensive. Okay, so if we do something like this is a very very extensive series of things that don't really tell me much, but I can work with it. So if we do something along the lines of oh, we got one. Gotta watch the ads first. Okay, he said resource. Okay. It's over. We're going to be producing oil. Producing oil to be sold, which is producing what we can do, like ranch resource. I don't really know what to call it for now. To be sold, producing cash crops to be sold. I guess actually what we could do here is this sweep down here. No, actually we put put you right here, and then we can do like narco crops, which is producing drugs to be sold a little bit more efficient. I have a coke farm. I have coke, and let's see. So e-currency, we've got okay. Villas, mercenary. Okay. So if we keep the idea, okay. So we're going to just make this just very raw. This is not going to be the final list. We just need to put words in. We just need to put actual things in. To double check our amount of money, we got 2,000 Thulean dollars, 2,000 Thulean dollars, and 1,000 trade currency. We want to be a little bit want to kind of constantly bring out some money, and just double check everything. What we could probably do is mark some of these as like not things you're going to pick up immediately. Like these are clearly like these are more, I would say, advanced, but like these are advanced resources like that you need to kind of like have some people. You need to invest a little bit more into your own barony to actually get these a little bit, so you can't get them right. But let's say, for example, let's see, my current one was so just a light residential. Let's say for a medium residential. Actually, no. Let's say for a light residential. You're going to get 100. It's going to cost you 150, but let's say it's going to do something like this. T cost is going to be, if we keep the math consistent, if we do the idea right off the bat that if we keep the basic concept that 10 T dollars, we do 5 T dollars equals 1 TC. Yeah, if we do this current mathematics, so that would be equal 9 C9, it would be equal C9 divided by 5. that. If we just keep it like this, so it's kind of like the idea, like, yeah, it's not really expensive. I mean, we could probably even tone this down. So it's like you have not a lot of trade currency to really work with here, because trade currency is very valuable. Want trade currency. Okay, so if we get the idea that you have 0 Catboy cost for any of this, but you're going to produce 1 Catboy, produce 2 Catboys, produce 4 Catboys. Upkeep, none. No upkeep needed for these, because it's kind of assumed that you're kind of paying for it's kind of paying for itself. That's kind of the idea. These are somewhat important. So, light Thulean commercial. This is just very light, very simple commercial that we're going to be producing Thulean dollars with. What do we have up here? 300. If we go under like the idea of actually, we can probably even make it like we make it like 250. That makes it 50 across the board. It costs 1 Catboy to actually run. It's going to produce 25 T dollars. That seems like a little, like not a lot. And say it produces that much, there is no upkeep needed. This is all it's going to produce. It costs 1 Catboy population to do this. But if you start getting it, we're going to say it's going to increase by like 2. If we say if it increases by 250 each time, so we do something like this. However, it's going to cost 2, and then it's going to cost 3. But we're going to double. We're not going to double it. No, we can double it pretty reliably at that point. So you're going to be producing something like this. So the value is increasing exponentially. So it's like you're going to be able to pay. You're going to pay this off in about 5 bits. You're going to pay this off in about 5 bits. You're going to pay this off in about 4. Unless we increase it by 75. If we increase it by 75, that would be 300, 425. That would be 4. That would be 5, 4, and then 3. Okay, that works. Okay, the money's met. Okay, the money's adding up. Money's adding up. That's fine. That's fine. Standard commercial. The light standard commercial. You want the standard commercial to be worth a lot more money, because this is actually producing trade currency, which is a lot valuable. If we increase it by 250 each time as well, like you're barely going to be able to afford a lot of these. So, but it's also going to be free. Its production is going to be. So we spike the T cost on these. You're not going to have a lot of these. You're not going to have a lot of trade currency. We kind of don't have a lot of trade currency, so that's fine. That's fine. That is a-okay. We are a-okay doing this. How much are we? If we do under the idea of that. If we do the raw production, or do we do the idea of the production, or do we do it like? No, we do it as a raw production, not just as a straight conversion's not gonna be worth it. That's the problem. You don't want to do straight conversion's gonna fucking bankrupt. The more this is the way for you effectively. I wouldn't say cycle out your money, but for you kind of get more out of it. We do it as the idea of you're going to get 50 TUC for 100 T dollars. It's a little bit much, but if we do it like this, that's pretty much a 4-to-1 conversion rate. We do one conversion rate. Because if we do it as this, what we can do here is we make the conversion rate better. Actually, no, we make the conversion rate better each time. So it goes from 1 to 10. So here it would be 1 to 10, 1 to 4, and this would be 2 for 1, 1 for 4. No, it's 4 for 1, 2 for 1, 1 for that'd be 10 for 1. Okay, so the conversion cost is a little. How it's emulating the idea is that the Thulean dollar is going to rise in value very quickly and also fall in value very quickly. Hence why we have trade currency. That's kind of the idea. That's kind of the that's one of the indirect jokes of it. It's like this is just going to like this T dollar cost is kind of like for you initially. Catnip. Catnip fields are very cheap, but you cannot buy them with. Not actually buy them with TC. You have to spend them with your T dollars because nobody wants to buy fucking something like this. Low investment, high gain. No upkeep. Adjacent to plantation house or other catnip. Yo, this is a very important note, so yeah, this is what this entire section is going to be, just because I just need to get if I get this done today, we're sitting pretty, let's just say that. We're sitting very pretty. If we do this correctly, this would be size. Size. If we do it, it'd be 1 by 1. Most of these are gonna be 1 by 1. Actually, it takes up 3 squares, takes up 2 squares. So yeah, it's more efficient for you to do. It's more light residential is not as efficient as like medium residential is gonna like just double everything. That's kind of the value, unless we want to do it like 1 by 1. But if we do it like actually no, that gives medium residential a little bit more purpose in the world because it's not a strict double. It's a hey, you are now being able to get a little, but it costs double the. So it's like, it's maybe not the best investment in the world. 1 by 1, 1 by 1. Heavy 2. Okay, scared me there for a bit. Light standard commerce, 1 by 1, 1 by 1, 1 by 2. Catnip fields will always be a 1 by 1. Catnip processing plant will always be 1 by 1. If we do the processing plant, it's going to be, we do 400 NA. Because no one's going to give you fucking money to bankroll that. We can just 500. Catboy cost is going to cost you 1. Production is going to be $10 T. Actually, it's going to be, if we do the maximum adjacency is 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, we do the maximum adjacency would be 8. 8 times 10 would be 80 per. That's not. 80 per wouldn't be as valuable. If we do 15, I mean, if we do like 15 times 8, what would be that'd be 120. 120 for a full production run. So if we do 15 T dollar, we do 15 T dollars a adjacent field. No upkeep, because we don't have to really worry about upkeep on most things. Again, the idea is that like you're already kind of paying for upkeep. That's, yeah, these are just raw profits. Upkeep is usually accounted for. But if we do the idea of adjacency for T dollars, if we go under the concept of every adjacent $100. Catnip distribution, which is going to be 100. Catnip computer, but we cannot spend this. Catboy cost is going to cost us 1 Catboy to do, and we're going to go. So it's kind of along the idea that you can produce, you are producing additional things by virtue of, you know, the catnip processing. You can only really get about 100 there. It doesn't really matter how many fields you have or where they're located. As long as you have fields, you're going to be getting something out of the distributor. Multiple distributors do stack. That's the benefit. So if you have a shit ton of fields, you want to put down more distributors, but you need to do the population for it. That's kind of the issue. Catnip collector, on the other hand, we're going to make you a solid, pretty fucking expensive. You can build it with T. You're not going to be able to build it with TC though. No trade currency. Not trade currency because it's catnip stuff. So not dealing with it. It costs 1 Catboy. It produces nothing. It has no upkeep. It is 1 by 1. Catnip collection. Catnip collection point. Catnip collection point acts as plantation house. Doesn't do anything, but it allows you to start building around it. Or you actually adjacent to plantation house, collection point. We don't need to explain it because it's already there. It doesn't produce anything, but allows you to build additional fields. So it's kind of like the idea of like, okay, if I kind of like box myself in here, I can build one and start expanding my fields. Think smart. So oil field. This is where things get a little bit excessive. If we do standard oil field, it's going to be 3 by 3. It's going to be a big fucker. It's going to cost actually, if we do like the idea, like it's going to cost you 500 TC to get babies up. It's going to cost you 3 Catboy. Production is going to be 5 oil. It's going to be 5 oil. Upkeep is going to be we're going to say we'll say 50 TC. It's going to be 50 T dollars or 10. Actually, no, we'll say it's 100 T dollars. 100 T dollars, or it's going to be 25 TC, 25 TC. This oil to be sold on the open market. We do the basic idea that like oil is going to start, like if we do the idea of like the stonks market, for example, kind of like I would say it wouldn't be necessarily stock market, it would be a commodity market, for example. We do the idea of the commodity market, we could do something along the lines of like oil is going to start probably at the idea of like 25 TC. Like actually we can do even lines. Yeah, oil is going to start at like 10 TC, but it's going to have, and I can actually use a little bit from the center system here, it's going to have a pretty high variability. So every round you're going to be able to, it's going to kind of pay for itself eventually, but it's like, yeah, this might spike to 18. If it spikes to 18, you're now being able to sell each individual oil for a pretty good fucking profit. So it's like, you're going to be able to pay, like it'll pay for itself, but it's a very high to actually get it up, and it's a big fuck off thing. It's 3 by 3, and you're a little 8 by 8 plot that you start with. Extraction point, we're going to say 1500. Catboy is going to be a variable production variable. Upkeep is going to be 50 T dollars. It's actually going to be 25 T dollars. 25 actually is going to be 10 we'll do 10 times Catboy, 10 times Catboy T dollars, a slash 5 slash 2 times, actually it'd be 3 times Catboy a TC. Size is going to only be 1 by 1. Produce a natural resource to be sold on the open market. I'm gonna have to put a little note here about the nature of natural resources in that particular section. This is the idea of saying, hey, you can invest as many Catboys as you want to get as much of this resource out as possible, but it's like, hey, you have a gem mine on Jesus fuck, hi phone. Like, you have a gem mine on your territory. And because you have a gem mine on your territory, you can put as many Catboys as you want there. Just got like 8 texts from my mother all. My phone at like mute. The fuck? Very weird. Yeah, that's a little bit. Well, I mean, I guess it would be the season. Let's see, the ranch. If we do, if catnip fields are only 100, these are only going to be 75. These are going to be very cheap. Catboy, you just need 1 Catboy production. We're going to say it's going to produce 2 ranch goods. Ranch goods. Ranchero. What would you say? Pretty much this. Yeah, this is like you building a literal ranch. I guess we'll do like animal products. Actually, yeah, no, we'll do animal products. Upkeep. There's gonna be no upkeep. It's a 1 by 1. Produce it. Produce animal. Must be adjacent to a ranch or ranch house. Produce cash crops to be sold on the open market. Must be adjacent to a cash crop field or crops. Produce narcotics to be sold on the open market. Must be adjacent to a cash crop field or Narco or a crop house to a Narco field. Narco field or crop house. This. We do the understanding that cash crops are not pretty much good. Same thing. We're going to produce 2 cash crops. These are going to get a lot of these. These aren't really going to be that, like, you're going to get some money out of these, but there aren't going to be like an insane amount of money. They're cash crops though. Narco, on the other hand, you're going to be able to get a good amount of. 5 is going to cost NA, because of course no one's going to like, you that's not how that quite works. You're going to do Narco crops, no upkeep 1 by 1. Ranch house is going to cost you 200. Actually, ranch house is going to cost you 250. Crop house is going to cost 250. Ranch house, crop house is going to cost you 250. It's going to be 1 Catboy each. It doesn't produce anything. Doesn't require anything. Both are 1. Yeah, it's really an industry. This is where things get a little bit. If we go under the idea of maybe like 300, these are obviously like the most. 325. Medium, then we increase by 150 each time, so that would be 600, I believe, if we do this for the same thing. For 150, so it would be 475 and then 625. Like some of the like most expensive outside of like heavy standard commercial stuff. Like no, we need to more. If we increase it by 250, there would be 550. 550, then we increase it by another helping, it would be, if we do heavy standard commercial, no, we do 400. Well, no, we'll do 400, 600, and then 800 for our basic civilian. It's because so the idea behind civilian industry is at converting things into converting money effectively into building material, which can be used to just raw purchase, which is valuable in its own right. Military, on the other hand, we're going to increase that by quite a bit more because it's the fucking military and we can do that. So it allows you to raw purchase military units, which is very important because of money. 1, 2, 4. Actually, if we really want to be efficient, we could do something like that, like 2, 3, 4. Like, industry does require a decent population. However, produce, we'll say it produces building material. Do building material. Or unless we want to do, yeah, we'll keep it simple each time. If you're typing, I'm sorry, I'm very focused right now. And then we use the idea up there, which we can do like 100, we'll do like 150, we do, yeah, if we do like 150 T-dollars, or we do like, actually, no. We do 25, we'll do 100 TC for all 3 of these. Actually, not 100 TC. We'll do 50 TC for each of these. So it's very relatively speaking, pretty expensive, but you're getting a lot out of it, and you're converting TC to something raw. Because if we do 50, 50 is technically about 300 TC dollars. And you're just converting it into raw building material. Building materials isn't valuable by themselves, but they can be sold for other things. Just completely sabotage my fucking... Well, welcome back, everybody, to fucking Curious Cases. Here's my boy Rook completely sabotaging the experience with ads. Hell yeah, gamers. Okay, so yeah, it's welcome to me staring at the men who stare at documents. So if we do this, you're producing a lot of military materials, and that means pretty much the best way to think about industry is building materials and military materials allow you to effectively build things for free. You can make a command economy, so you don't have to pay the T dollar cost going forward, which your T dollar cost might be extravagantly huge. Which later on, the idea is like what I'm going to have to do is like change the value of T dollars. Like this isn't going to be a consistent value. Like you're going to base it off the T, this cost. And it's like, yeah, one T dollar, like one T dollar might equal one TC at one point, which makes it really valuable. It might also get to a point where it's 25 T dollars equal one TC, which this is going to bankrupt you and you need to convert everything into trade currency really fast. Like the starting value is going to be 5, but it's not going to stay the starting value. That's kind of the issue. Entertainment, we're going to as 500. Actually, we can do something like 750. Be pretty big. We're going to say it's going to cost. It's going to be a 15 T dollar building essential. 15 T dollars. Actually, no, we can do population producing building. No upkeep is eating. It's going to be 1 by 1. This is going to be a 2 by 2. This is going to be a 2. This is going to do all of these by 2 because they are big and they're giant sacks of shit you have to worry about. E-currency farms, 1,200. It costs 0 population to upkeep, and it's going to produce 5 TC. And now it's going to produce TC. None. It's going to be 1 by 1, and that's it. Produces T dollars. For every population producing building adjacent. So if you have residential surrounding the entertainment complex, you're good, but you can also surround it by things like fucking squatter shacks and tenement complexes. Squatter shacks are going to be a grand total of, if we go up here for 150, they're going to be 75. Tenement complexes are going to be 150. They're going to be shitty, and nobody wants to be next to them. And obviously, you don't need Catboys to run them. You're going to produce 2 Catboys. You're going to produce 4 Catboys. None. No upkeeps. No upkeeps. You're going to be by 1. You're going to be by 1. Cannot have a residential or cannot have a residential commercial. Have a residential, commercial, or commercial. can't have one of these. You can't have like a light, heavy, residential. You can't have any of these residential fields next to these. You're getting a lot of Catboys out of them. This is how you span population up. But the problem is you're kind of like restricting yourself to. You're restricting a little bit of room. Mercenary post. We're gonna say 750. One. Upcoming crises fort. See, just by virtue of having a mercenary post, you have that. The R&D facility. It's going to cost us 1,000. It's going to be employing 4 Catboys. Nothing, none, and it's going to be a 2x2 building. Able to upgrade all your units at half cost, so instead of just having to buy everything right away, you're able to do everything cheaper. Villas are going to be pretty much, let's see, we'll do 500. Actually, no, we'll make them pretty expensive. Villas cost 1,000. Catboy population, they require 0. They produce 1 population. They produce 1 Catboy, and $10 and $10 and 10 TC. Don't have any upkeep. They're 1 by 1. That's all they do. Villas are actually. We can probably. There we go. Here's all our very basic. What you're working on. This is to get the full name. This is a commission project, and because we got to get the full name correct here. Ancap Cattrap's Magical Capitalist Adventures on the Lost Island of Thule. I've lost control of my life, as you can see. Right now, this is the Sim City element that he requested. So I'm adding the Sim City element because that's a thing that I have to do now. You may be wondering, wow, Notepad, it sounds like you lost the plot of your life, and the answer is yes, I have lost it. So, here's all our very basic things. Now, what I could probably do is I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. Then we do data, create a filter, we do this, everything producing Catboys, it's deleted. Just need things producing Catboys right now. Cool, these are all the things we don't actually need. Actually, we don't need the e-currency farm either. Just need things producing population. I'm gonna call these population buildings. Population. This here, we need to here. So, okay, we got this. This is the basic infrastructure. I forgot what traps were, so there's no pretty dresses. Do you realize how difficult it is to get a Catboy in a dress? Thank you very much. second you type in anything Catboy dress, it's either they're gonna get some badonkers and lose their member, or it's gonna be a fucking maid. There's no in between. You get a maid, or you get badonkers. You don't get both. You need to delete all of you because you're already going to be in there. Put all of you up. So these are our basic name. Catboy, we'll say Catboy workers, production. Filter production, upkeep. Most of these don't have any upkeep, but there's some that do. There's some basic size requirements. There's some basic note requirements. There we go. I could probably split the crop, like the actual crop fields up a little bit, but I'm hoping that's like you have to be adjacent to different things and stuff like that. I'm hoping anyway. That's kind of the goal. That's kind of the goal in that regard. So okay. This is good for now. Now what I get to do is I get to select this, and I get to go here to, we're going to cut you and you. Don't need you two right now. Because those are going to be more, actually we can even probably cut medium residential. We can upgrade to medium residential. So these are going to be our basic ones right this second. Like right this second. These are our basic ones for our starting character, for our starting things. So let's see. We don't need, let's just go down the list. Cash crops, fine. Catnip collector, fine. Catnip distributor. Fields, very important. Processing plant, fine. Crop house. E-currency farm, we don't need. Entertainment, maybe. Extraction point. No, we're not gonna put, I'm not gonna put that in there right now. Not heavy, not any of the heavy stuff. No heavy thing. Part of me even wants to remove the lights. You know what? We're gonna remove the medium as well. No mercenary post. No oil field because you can't even afford it. R&D facility. You can keep the R&D facility, but I don't think anyone can afford it unless you get like really early in on it. If you really want to, but you're going to be lacking other things. Ranch and then. Yeah. These are our like starting ones. That's kind of the idea. Like I don't want to like. The goal here is don't overwhelm the like player with like here's every single option, even shit you can't like clearly afford. This is just our very basic, just to get everybody on the right idea. So if we go down here, any building of their choice that's fun for them. Kickstarting the local economy should be a priority, but as well, a few heads or hands are available for fields, Catboys, other cat with the barony promise wealth, power, and designer clothes. So we paste this unlinked, something along the line. This. Table properties. Not row height. Column width. We'll do. Can I get away with 0.7? 0.7. Can I get away with 0.7? Can I get away with 0.7 here? Let's both of these just in page. 0.7. Population increase. Can we go down to 1? Yes. Size. Can we go to 0.7? 7. Yes. Notes. Let's expand notes to. How does 2 look? There we go. Oop. Gotta pin the header row. We then hit this. Select everything here. alignment, middle. You say like that's an easy thing, especially with fucking it. Like the AI super machines have been working pretty reliably. I will say that it's been pretty reliable. The issue currently is that it doesn't understand some of the nuances that go into things. I'm just having a hell of a time. We're going to bring you down to 8. We'll bring you down to 8 and make you roboto. Okay. Now we get to do the fun part of going into table properties and playing around with it. Let's just select everything right off the bat. That button, center. Okay. Select both of you. 0.7. Catboy workers. We can probably make you smaller. What happens if we make you 0.7 though? Okay, we can make you smaller. What if we make this entire section 0.7? Little bit big. Can we make you 0.6? 5? We make you all 0.65. You all fit pretty good. That means we can expand you out like maybe we. It's 5. Produce for every population infrastructure adjacent. There we go. We explain it there. We don't actually need this. We need this. Codex produces there. Requires this. Else out of the ordinary. No. Okay. These are our basic ones. So, moment of truth. Here's our 8x8. We're going to go here. We're going to select this. I'm going to select a little 8x8 ranch. This, we're going to hit that button. We're going white. Next, we're going to, this is going to be our PH. This is going to be our main plantation house. And this is going to be our, we'll make the catnip. We're just gonna make my, we're gonna say this is gonna be our catnip field. Starting funds. Yeah. Yeah, it's if I could try, what I might do one day is I might hop into the server and just sit down in like actual like words without context or something and just pull up the, you know, the fucking stable diffusion thing I run on my PC, and we'll just generate endless Catboys and see if we can get it to work. Do we give people a lot of money or do we keep it? Do we want this well developed or do we want it somewhat not well developed? You know, I'm going to keep it not as developed. I think 500 trade currency is plenty. So, what I'm going to do. So, we've got a couple dollars to work with. So let's see. We've got 2,000. Generally speaking, we've got 2,000 T dollars and 500 TC. This is our current. These are our current funds. These are everything, mind you. So we don't want to spend everything. But I'm feeling like we should invest in some light residential. I'm feeling where we can either go full squatter shack, or we can do. You know what? Let's go. We can do high export, we can do high exploitation, or we do not nearly as much exploitation. If we're building, we want to build a command economy early. Let's say that. Let's say we're going to build a command economy as early as physically possible. Let's see if we can't manipulate this a little bit. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 150, that's 1,200. We'd only have 800 TC left. Let's only invest in, let's say, 4. If we invest in 4, that's bring us to 600. So if we slap some people in the corner, so that brings us down to 1,400. That brings us down to 1,400. However, that means we have currently in excess of 4 Catboys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12, 16. We have excess of 16 Catboys, which isn't necessarily saying we have 16 guys to fuck around with. This is more abstract. This is like we got a couple. There's a couple, like we got people now. We got a decent number of people. Let's expand the catnip production. Okay, let's actually take a look here what we need. Let's say our catnip. It's cost us only 100 TC to get some more. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do this. Let's expand our catnip fields out. So we expanded it to 4. So we got only 1,000 T dollars left. I'm building it this. Actually, we can probably build this a little bit more efficiently. If we put that like here and then like here. We build it kind of like in this bizarre way of looking at things. We can slap like not a distributor, but we can slap a processing plant for 500 if we do 500 right off the bat. So that's currently 4. So we're 12 out. We have 4 gainfully employed Catboys. We slap a distribution hub right there. Currently, this processing plant is going to be producing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 times 15, 5 times 15, 75. It's going to be about 75. We're doing 75, about 75 $8 a site. Not a lot, but we're making money, plus all the catnip fields. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 catnip fields. And 5, and so that means 25 TC, 25 TC apiece. So that's 5 times 25. That would be about 125 T dollars as well. So we're making about 200 T dollars a cycle currently, and we've got plenty of population still to work. Let's invest something. Do you want to go hard on the cash crops? If we go hard into cash crops, what we can do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we do this, we go hard into cash crops. because the plantation house will always count as a collection point. So that would be 5. That means we're down to 6 Catboys, I believe. 6 unemployed Catboys and 5. 15 times, we'll do 5 times 15, 75. We're making money. Let's reduce TC value to buy all these fields, but these cash crops mean we're going to be getting about 10 cash crops. Cool, we're making money. We're making money. Let's see. What else do we? Let's see. What else are we? What do we got to work with? We got 500 $. We can do light, not light, straight. We can do light Thule commercial. Actually, here's what we can do. We do 2 light Thule commercial here. We'll make it blue. Because it's Thulean commercial, it's gonna be we'll reduce. It's only gonna be 50 here, so that means this to 325. And because we've got Thulean commercial, we reduce our Catboy worker population to 4. But now we're making 100, which then we put in a light standard commercial right here. If we want to be a little bit, we want to make, because we're already making some good money, let's be a little bit more aggressive about it. We can use this to 25 and the light standard commercial. So that means we're going to be making 100 $. From here, and then we're going to be making about 20 TC here for that, and we'll get about 100 profit. Okay. Here's the current state. We're gonna keep our money right here. We've got not a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but we got money. Hi Notepad, how have you been? I've been doing good. I apologize, I've disappeared for quite a while. More questionable sides of the internet, enjoying some inoffensive one-on-one gaming in Messenger. Shine on, Solid. That's all I can say. Shine on, Crazy Dog. You do you. But we have it now. If we have 2, that means we have 2 loose Catboys, so we can kind of expand our operations. We can build some more catnip fields. I guess we can invest in more catnip fields if we really want to, but we have a little bit more. I guess we can do something like this. If we do that, that's going to bump our amount up to that, and that makes this 105, if I recall correctly. If we're at 75. Yeah, 100. I'm not going in. There we go. We're making good money right now. We've kind of set up our base, a very basic economy. We're going hard on cash crops, though. That's kind of one of our big things. We're investing hard into this, and the problem is now is we kind of have this entire little section down here, our barony, that we can't really put a lot of better things in. So as we develop in, we're going to probably want to remove these tenement complexes, or maybe we just accept the fact that they need to be sequestered off. If we accept the fact that they kind of need to be sequestered off a little bit, maybe we can, understand. But we've now kind of only limited ourselves to a very small amount. So okay, where do we want to do that? If you want to go harder core on like future-proof, I would say future-proofing, you would do a lot more light residential and you'd be a little bit more concerned. That's why I put in the tenement complexes to begin with. Like, they're a big investment. Like, they're not actually that big of an investment, but you get a lot of population out of them. The problem being is you now have a bunch of fucking tenements to worry about that are cheap, shitty, and bad, and you kind of have to position them in a way, because if you put them like centralize everything, you're not going to do very well. So we don't have a lot of money to kind of end off with, but every cycle we're going to get a good amount of money every cycle. What we're going to need to fucking use it. And now obviously we don't need to, like, we can put this over here or we can put it up here or whatever. Like, we can kind of like maneuver some of these around pretty easily if we want to, like, we want to put this like up here, for example. That's fine, but we're kind of limiting our expansion. So if I want to be a little bit more efficient, I would put it like right here. Because there's no adjacency bonuses. I just want to put it there to give you an example. But yeah, this is kind of like what a basic starting barony might look like. And you want to expand things out, obviously, and look around. Now, role-playing game-wise, we now have a situation. This isn't it. Now we have a very large and very decent amount of money coming in. However, almost all of our workers live effectively in squalor. They're a bunch of poor fucks. We're not. We now have to contest with that. That's a situation that has arisen. We have a bunch of poor fucking workers that kind of work our businesses a little. We're making good money, but you know, there's clearly people on the top and clearly people on the bottom, which some people don't like, which can kind of lead to some problems. That's an issue. Also have a very strong cash crop field. And what are we growing? Maybe we're growing tobacco, maybe we're growing sugarcane, maybe we're growing something else. Who the fuck knows? I didn't want to invest in anything too big, but maybe later on we say fuck it and we go hard on the oil or something. Because how I want this to kind of be like is that you're going to be able to expand out your operations in different directions. So you can, it's like you're going to be buying tiles effectively, like, or swaths of tiles to kind of expand out. But yeah, this is kind of like what I'm assuming most things are going to end up like this unless you have like a very specific idea in mind. Here I was like cash crops. I want to go hard on the cash crops. But I'm assuming like most you're going to have like a decent like your catnip fields are going to be your basis of your economy. And that's on purpose. That works. And I'm assuming you're going to have a processing plant almost on every single one. Pretty much every single one of these little grids you're going to have a processing plant on. So you'd probably have one like right here, like it'd be like one here and maybe one here. But this one would not be as efficient. So it's kind of like, there's a couple ideas what you can do. But efficiency is the name of the game. Make money. So, okay. This works. And generally speaking, that was kind of the plan for today. Is like, can I get this to fucking work? But yes, rolling fields. So, yeah, this is pretty simple. It's simple, but it gets the idea across. Okay, so we've got the plantation creation is done. We need to do force creation next. Cool. So let's see. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write out the ideas behind force creation, and then I'm going to do it on Wednesday. Maybe wondering why I'm taking so long in this one. I started at a little bit of a weird time. If I can think of cat puns, that would make everything a lot better, but cat puns are hard. So let's see. Since its inception, the Thule has not been a land. Has not been a peaceful land. Whether it was the barons fighting one another, or one of the many failed invasions by hopefuls, often backed by foreign governments. The barons are not strangers to complex. Let's see this. Barons are not strangers to conflict, and many of them host a private military to protect their land and the independent barony. Thule. While on paper there is a full. While contractually the barons are unified under a single military banner. Let's see. Barons are unified under a single contractually the barons are unified under a single banner. Scale invasions by outside forces. The concordance. Actually, the unified baron. Let's see the independent baron's concordance is rarely invoked except in extreme circumstances. The private forces of the private Catboy militaries of the barons are primary bulwark against invasion. While NAPs, not aggression. Aggression pacts are signed sometimes or is inevitable. We make it very grim. Oh no, everything's sad, but you also gotta remember everyone's a fucking Ancap Catboy. Gotta remember this. Two very important. How does one design a character sheet? How do you write the instruction of the game book that makes sense? Let's see. How does one design a character sheet? Character sheets are a little bit weird. My general philosophy when it comes to a lot of my character sheets. Let me see if I can. I'll see if I can find one. What have I done a character sheet? What have I done a character sheet for? No. Oh no. Can't remember ones I've done a character sheet for. I don't like doing fucking character sheets. I find them very sad. They bring me nothing but pain. No, that's definitely not it. Don't look there. Oh, iron caskets. Characters. Yeah. But regardless, the main thing with the character sheets you always got to remember is you got to get all the essential information. You need to get the essential information on there. It's very important. And it seems kind of like a joke, but like I will say this, like I will give D&D one thing. Its character sheet works. It tells you legitimately everything you need to know right off the fucking bat. Though I will always say that you could probably remove like this pretty easily. Like, yeah, all the information you need is right here. There's nothing else you really need. But then you get some like, my usual philosophy is very utilitarian, I believe would be the right way of saying it. I am very utilitarian when I come to my characters. And Actually, I know I have a character sheet right here. Like this is how I do things. Like I am very like, here's all the information you need and absolutely nothing else. If you want something else, fuck off. You're not getting it. Let's see. For end-dubbed. Since not book. Don't think of, oh, you don't need to look at, no one needs to look at that now, do they? Did Metal Saviors ever get a character sheet? Actually, yeah, Metal Saviors did technically get a character sheet. Like, here was the Metal Saviors one. Was like, yeah, here is your name, experience, everything you need to know about the character, and other skills. That's it. You're done. Good job. You did it. Like, that's not actually too complicated to do. How do you write instructions for a game book that makes sense, though? The big thing there, don't look at that image. The big thing, though, is have, like, a very clear understanding of what you want to do and, like, how you want to write things out. So it's like for Catboys here, Catboys of Thule, for example, I actually wrote this little bit out. How I wanted to end up doing this is like, okay, I want to do the Thulean barony, Thulean barony creation. Got to write out how characters are created, how forces are created, how baronies are created. Then I want to go to explaining. Then I want to do explaining the phases. What does the building phase look like? What does the personal phase look like? What does the crisis phase look like? Then it's one of those things like, and then it's be very clear with yourself and really write out like a list of what you need and what you want. Rules is not difficult. I think a lot of people, when they get kind of spooked when it comes to like writing rules and stuff, they're not really that spooky. I think people get a little bit, psyched out about it. Like, let's Iron Hunter, for example. Iron Hunter is kind of a disaster area, but it's my disaster area. I opened up with how we play. Very simple. I just legitimately, like, if you actually read a lot of my games, I actually have almost the exact same sign up for every single one, because I find it very easy and very simple. Like, then I usually go to character creation, then, like, that's pretty much it. Pretty much, I have a very strict process in how I do things. Okay. So, we 3. Let's each of the barons have their own personal forces under their command. While unified under a single contract, these brave soldiers are under your command, under the baron's command. No one else's, not any of their fellow barons. Kind of like one of the ideas is the guys that are under your command are yours. These are your private military that you have. You've all kind of bought into this. You're all working together, but these guys are your guys. Nobody else is really going to be commanding them except you. So, personal forces under their command. So how do we want to kind of word this? There's a few ways to word this. I will most likely, again, do this on Wednesday, because this took way longer than it should. But I'm feeling pretty good about this section, and I'll probably write out, kind of do what I did today, is just write everything out. Get everything I need to do, because I have an idea of how to do this. Because if we go here, like, I think I have, like, I think I have everything. I think it's just, it's going to be a lot of me staring at being 1, 2, 1, 2. Like, we're making good time, generally speaking. we've made pretty damn good time for what the... So yeah, I'm probably gonna call it there for today because I'm kind of tired and my throat's getting blown quickly. So yeah, I will call it there. I will say though, under our current situation, under our current thing, we made good time. Wednesday will most likely be hammering out all the forces, which then means we can roll back and do commander skills as well. That's going to be the goal for Wednesday. We're going to finish up we're going to attempt to anyway, finish up character creation. And once character creation is kind of hammered out, we're going to rush through our character creation, kind of understand what a final like barony is going to look like. Once that's good, I think we should be fine because skills are pretty simple. Skills are pretty much just like, hey, this is what I'm associated with, I'm good with this, or hey, this is what I like doing. Yeah, so okay, this is getting all of this to work properly. That's the... I don't think it'll be hard, I think it'll just be long. So, thank you all very much. A little bit shorter stream today, but you know how it goes. Tomorrow, I'm going to be working on the Ops and Tactics video. That one's going to be a little bit weird, but hopefully everyone enjoys it. Let's see. We're also most likely, if things go smoothly with the Ops and Tactics video, we'll be doing the another Muv-Love translation stream tomorrow. We've been making really good time on that. Really good time. So we're going to probably kind of keep on that. Hopefully, I'm going to try to get at least some of the gameplay stuff from Muv-Love done tomorrow. Wednesday, we're going to be obviously hopping back on this, trying to wrap everything up with character creation. Thursday, we're going to do a detox on Song of the White Carnations, and that leads to Friday being attempting anyway, depending on where we end off, will be how we end up things there. So, thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad, and I'll catch you all at a different time. Ugh!